So I'll be talking about Operation Husky, also known as the Allied invasion of Sicily. After defeating Italy and Germany in the North African campaign, British and American strategists faced two options: transfer these forces north for the impending invasion of Europe from the English Channel, or remain in theater to strike at southern Italy. The latter was strongly supported by Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain. Although the American generals argued that an invasion of Italy would draw resources away from cross-channel operations into France, Churchill's strong belief that Italy was the soft underbelly of Europe eventually persuaded the Americans to consider his proposal. Thus, Operation Husky was born, a large-scale amphibious invasion from North Africa to the island of Sicily, which could be used as preparation for an attack on mainland Italy. Before the dawn on July 10, 1943, the operation began, with combined air and sea landings involving 150,000 troops, 3,000 ships, and 4,000 aircrafts, all directed at the southern shore of the island. The operation was nearly cancelled the previous day when a huge storm arose and caused serious difficulties for paratroopers dropping behind enemy's line that night. However, the storm worked in Allies' favor because the defenders at Sicily believed that no commander would attempt amphibious landing in such wind and rain, and didn't prepare at all for the invasion. Some argue that had the Axis force been better prepared, the results of the operation might be disastrous, and the Allies had an easier time than they arguably deserved. By the afternoon of July 10th, supported by shattering naval and aerial bombardments of the enemy position, 150,000 Allied troops reached the Sicilian shores, bringing along 600 tanks. Document from Canadian Military Headquarters report recorded the details of the attack on Sicily. During this period, the Northwest African Air Forces carried out 394 heavy, 1,225 medium, and 377 light bomber effective sorties against Sicilian landing grounds, while Sinoica-based liberators of the 9th U.S. Air Force flew 126 effective sorties against these objectives. At the time, Hitler was so deceived by Operation Mincemeat, a made-up operation to invade the Balkans, that he left only 2 German invasions in Sicily to battle the Allied soldiers. The Axis defense of Sicily was also weakened by the losses in North Africa, giving the Allies more advantages. When the Italian forces finally began to mobilize for a counterattack, they were easily repulsed by the naval gunfire. The landing progressed with ground forces commanded by British General Bernard L. Montgomery and American General George S. Patton. The Allied troops successfully captured the Syracuse and the significant Ponte Grande Bridge and kept moving upwards. For the next 5 weeks, Patton's army moved toward the northwestern shore of Sicily, then east towards Messina, protecting the flank of Montgomery's veteran forces as they move up the east coast of the island. The US and British soldiers pushed back the Axis force farther and farther until most were trapped in the northeast corner of the island. On July 25th, the day after Mussolini's arrest, the first Italian troops began withdrawing from Sicily. On August 11th, the massive evacuation began. More than 100,000 German and Italian soldiers were able to cross the Strait of Messina and escape into Italy. Despite the fierce fighting, the invasion of Sicily was a remarkably bloodless affair. Only 1% of the 500,000 Allied soldiers were killed. The Germans lost about 26,000 men, with 10,000 taken captive, the rest killed or wounded. Almost the entire Italian Sixth Army surrendered. 100,000 men became prisoners. The Allied use of paratroops and aircrafts is advantageous because the element of surprise, and disadvantageous because the uncertain environment. The heavy naval forces and tank bombardments helped with the uncertainty and secured an Allied victory. The significance of the operation was that it successfully removed the air and sea potential of the Axis power from the island, and it convinced Italy's Grand Council of Fascism to capitulate. However, since the Allies failed to capture the fleeting Axis army, the victory at Sicily wasn't as convenient as they anticipated. The advance against the Italian mainland in September would end up taking more time and costing more Allied troops than they expected. Thank you for watching.